Welcome to the Raw and Real podcast, a space for honest conversations about life in all its messy, beautiful complexity. Here we go deep, exploring the vulnerable, the meaningful, and the moments that truly shape who we are. Nothing's off limits. These are unfiltered conversations about life where we're not afraid of talking about the hard stuff. No masks, no filters, we're just real people with real stories. Let's get into it. Welcome everybody to Conversations with Julie and Sonia. Welcome, Sonia.
Hi, Julie.
Today's conversation is about filling your own cup and how that is so important and in being a better parent. And what do we mean by filling our own cup? To you, Sonia, what does filling your own cup mean to you?
I just want to say one thing first of all. I really dislike that phrase, filling your own cup. It's so cliche, but it's so important. And we've called this conversation filling your cup. But what we're really talking about is doing things that are for you, that fill your heart. I like the idea of filling your heart. It's the things that make you shine and doing things that you love. So I guess we'll talk about, first of all, what that means when we do that from a dysfunctional way, or when we're not doing essentially is the dysfunctional side of it, right? So I guess when I talk about dysfunctionally, how I spent a lot of time as a parent early on in my parenting days not looking after myself. And just because I was really busy, 3 little kids under 3, they were all like, it was chaos essentially. But also, most importantly, it was just never important to me. And I didn't have a role model to show me that a woman is able to fill her cup and still be a good parent. It was always about self-sacrifice for me as role models in my life. Parents were, particularly the women, it was all about self-sacrifice. And you put everyone else first, and then you'll last. Even to the point when you're serving up dinner, everyone gets their plate filled first and your plate is last. And it's simple as that, but on any scale at all, it was always about self-sacrifice, putting everyone else before you. So,
yeah. And for me to put myself first, back in the day, I thought was just pure selfishness. Because I thought that is what I had to do as a mum. I had to put my kids first. I had to even put my partner first. I had to have meals on the table because he'd been working all day. But I haven't been home with 3 kids under 3 and doing book work and doing all that other stuff. So yeah, to me, and I was the same, I didn't have a role model because we were just told to just get on with it. And so for me to go and do something that was going to make me happy was like I was being selfish. It was actually like I was doing something wrong.
So much guilt from it, right? It brings up so much guilt to do things for yourself, leaving your kids behind or...
And I'd often see, full disclosure here, I'm guilty of this. I would actually judge other women that would go out and do stuff. Why are you doing that? Aren't you meant to be home with your kids? You're being selfish. And I look back now and obviously I have a totally different take on that, but I don't judge myself for it because I didn't know any other way. I just thought that was the way, that I was to be at home, to have everything sorted and everything in its place, and what my needs were last. You'd fall into bed at night and my needs were never met because I was completely exhausted trying to meet everybody else's needs, which is damn near impossible. It is.
Exactly.
When you're in a household, it is impossible to meet everybody's needs. But that was what I've strived for every day, to meet, and never once did I think, oh, see, I was running on empty and I didn't realize.
The word that comes to mind is martyr.
If you're a martyr, you were good. Like that to me was to be a martyr.
Yeah, and maybe part of that is the religious background that we've come from, right? The Catholicism and that martyrism. But I guess let's talk about what sort of parent we were like when we were parenting from that empty, because I can totally relate to that feeling of being empty and just having nothing left to give
At the end of the day, it was just like, well, I was exhausted.
And even mentally for me, it was like just during the day. Anytime anyone came to me, I just had nothing. And I remember my kids just, if we were out and they needed a cuddle or they came to me for comfort because they felt uncomfortable in a strange environment I felt it. I remember, this is horrible to say, but I remember it feeling like a burden. Please just leave me alone. Like that feeling of just depletion. I have nothing left to give you.
And then in turn, that makes you feel guilty.
Well, of course.
Gosh, how could I feel like that as a parent? I'm meant to be loving these kids. We did. There's no denying that. But the amount of times it's like, God, can you just leave me alone? I even do it now at the end of the day. When I'm ready to go to sleep, my teenagers seem to come out of the woodworks and want to have conversations and have fun, but I'm exhausted. I've done my day's work. I catch myself now and give them the time, but even now, I was like, just leave me alone. Just everybody leave me alone. I'm just gonna, I said, I'm just packing my bags and I'm just gonna go away when no one can reach me, no one can have a piece of me, and you can all sort your own shit out because I'm done. And that's so dysfunctional, isn't it? Getting to that point where you have to say, I'm literally running away because I need some time to myself, not just empty and drained. It's, I can't do this anymore. I can't mentally, for me, it's more mentally. It wasn't physical for me, or sometimes it was, but for me, it's more mentally like draining. It's just like, I can't give you any more of my time and my attention.
Just feeling completely depleted. I remember that so much. And it still happens when I am not filling my cup and I know that I'm not doing enough, because I think that fluctuates, right? How much we need fluctuates where we are in our life and what's going on. But I remember a time where I was pretty much doing very nothing or very little to take care of myself, even just a walk, just something as simple as that. I couldn't do it because that meant leaving the kids behind, but
we left our kids for half an hour and the whole world was going to stop and our kids would come crashing down.
For sure, there were periods of time where I did do that, or I might have had a girls' weekend away or whatever. But I think for me, the thing that's changed the most is the consistency. Not just a once in a blue moon taking off thing. That it doesn't work that way. It's about turning up for yourself every single day. And I think that's the big difference I had, because I certainly had times away. I certainly took time, did little things and went out with my friends. But it wasn't a consistent thing that happened every single day. I didn't do something for myself every day. And it was only until I did that things really changed in the way I parented.
Absolutely. I remember, this is a funny story now that I can look back on it. I went away, I think it was with my sister, and we just went away for a nice weekend. I was really looking forward because I needed that break. You're at that point where you're like, I need to get out of this house. So we went away and had a lovely time. And she pulled up in my driveway and she went in first to say hello to my kids and stuff like that. And she come out, she says, don't go inside. I came inside and that kitchen bench looked like it was just a huge explosion. And then my husband was up the shed, just on his merry little way, doing whatever he wants to do, and left the kids down the house to, oh my God, it was a bomb had gone off. And it was, as I walked in, it was like back to that martyr. This just reaffirms that I shouldn't be spending time away because look what happens. And I didn't step into my authority and say, hey, mister, get down the house and help these kids sort it out. I'll be back in another hour. But I went into this whole, like I said, a martyr, just proved to me that I shouldn't go away because this is what happens when I go away. I need to be there to keep everything under control. Just when she said, don't go into the house, I went, oh, shit. I know. So
dysfunction. Like what that brought up for me is the house has to be clean even before the house even comes before me.
Yeah.
That I remember is like, I feel so tired. I just have got nothing left, and I'll still go and clean the house because someone's coming. And that feeling that looking back now, even the house, we have to make sure the house is clean before we can take care of ourselves.
Even that, like for me, I could never go to bed if there was dishes on the bench because that's what I'd wake up to. So I'd be up cleaning before I went to bed. So that's what this dysfunctionally, you're not filling your cup, you're filling everybody else's, you're meeting everybody else's needs and wants and desires before you meet your own. And that to me affected me as a parent because I wasn't there. I wasn't present. I was drained. I was tired. I was worrying about how everything should look and how everyone would see me from the outside looking in. And it just made me a distant parent because I was exhausted, giving myself the basic human needs that I needed.
Turned me into a wild woman. I was completely wild in probably quite a negative sense. I was angry all of the time. And I was, I think I've talked about this, yelling at my kids every single day, multiple times a day, yelling at my husband all the time over the smallest things. This isn't done. Why, if I come into that scenario that you described when you came back from your weekend away, I would have gone mental. And I'm sure I did something very similar. I'm talking just insanely, just out of control, crazy woman yelling and screaming. And all the time, that was just me. That was normal for me. And I knew nothing different.
I would describe that as losing your shit, absolutely losing it. And we can all relate to that.
What makes me want to do this kind of work is, for me, that kind of person that I was doing that was all I knew. And I know I've said this, it was all I knew. And I had no idea that there was this other person that I could be that was present and grounded and didn't have to lose their shit when they got angry, right? I still get angry. There's no doubt about it, but I rarely, if ever, lose my shit to that extent ever anymore. And I didn't know that I could be that. Yeah. And that's why I'm so passionate about this work and sharing this story, because if one person hears that they don't have to be that person, they don't have to lose their shit in that way, it's life-changing. It's changed my life.
It's changed the way I parent. It's changed my connection to my children. It is a game changer. So filling your cup, how do you do it dysfunctionally? We talk about, because we haven't filled our cup or filled our heart and just given us that time, we showed how that had an effect on our parenting by losing our shit, being disengaged, not there, all that sort of stuff. But you can also fill your heart and do things that you think are actually filling your cup, but they're really dysfunctional. For me, one of them is time wasting, tend to eat.
Big one for me, eating.
It's even scrolling on social media. I've really had to catch myself. So I've had to put my phone away because I've got 10 minutes. Let's sit on social media. And then let's compare my life to everybody else's and make me feel even worse. Together. So there's ways that you can think that you're doing things that are actually giving you energy and that connection to yourself and doing stuff that you like. Like that's how I dysfunctionally was doing it. Is there any ways that you would do it?
The food part resonates a lot because I used food as medicine, junk food, sweets, sugary things, biscuits, anything essentially that's sugary as medicine. That was my, and of course I know it's not, I know that it's not medicine, but I used it as a way to calm myself, to numb myself, and just binge eating. And I remember even this thought in my mind of, I'm worth it. I can have this because I'm worth it. I think back about how far off the mark that was, but it was messed up. It sounds, but I remember that loop pattern. And that's what I use that. I can have this packet of biscuits because I'm worth it. I deserve it. And so that's what I would do to fill my cup in a very dysfunctional way.
It was comforting you and soothing you.
Correct. It's a soother.
I know.
It feel better while I was putting them in my mouth. As soon as I finished.
Exactly. The time, it was just like, oh, this is making me feel good. So you're thinking that it's giving me some gratification in that moment, but it's not long-term gratification.
No, but that was a massive one for me. Oh, that, and I didn't even think of that until you said it. And it was actually one of probably the biggest thing that I did. And I think a lot of people do, they might go and have a drink and alcohol or a cigarette or any harder drugs. I think I've seen that's a way that women can dysfunctionally. I know people who've done it, those things. They're all just different ways to fill your cup in a dysfunctional way. And
Yeah.
like I said, social media, scrolling.
I know. I used to look at that now and you're feeling like absolute crap anyway, and then get on social media and look at these women that seem to have their whole life together, and it would just make you feel even worse.
Mm.
But I will say that with the social media, I have to laugh because you'd get on there and these women talk about how great their life is, and here I am comparing it, making myself feeling worse and worse. And then you'd see them down the street and they're getting a divorce, but you just posted on there, so you're finding that, so that was just not feeling, that was not serving me in any way. So there's many ways, and you've touched on a few ways that people do it, but it's just recognizing how you do it. And so now we can flip the switch and we can talk about how do we do things that we love to do? How do we find the time and the space to functionally fill our cup? That, you know, the things that mean something to us, that are true, they're in our heart, that we want to do. And let's talk about the benefits of that as a parent when you parent from that space, not from the space of exhaustion, overwhelm, jealousy, thinking that's I have to be the martyr. How can other people get to do this? Everyone's perfect. I'm not. Blah, all the stuff that we've discussed. So how would you say that by doing the things that you love to do and giving you that energy and that spark and the joy back in your life, how does it affect you as a mother?
It's been immensely just indescribable, the shift that I've experienced. And it's not to say that I don't get angry. It's not to say that I don't binge eat at times. It still does happen on the occasion. And I know at those points in time that I'm probably just not filling my cup enough. And as I said before, it's like periods of time in our lives, I guess, when we have those things are tougher, we may need to do that more and more. And I notice that in myself anyway. But as a parent, I'm no longer yelling at my kids. I just don't. Just there's no need. If I get angry, I can do that from a place of why am I angry at this? What do I need? What would I love here? And act from that place. There's a moment, the reactionary time is I don't have to react straight away. I give there's space to just stop and pause and go, what do I actually want? How do I want to tackle this? I need to even tackle it. There's that space. I think that's really shifted the environment in the home where there's a lot, I guess, less anger and less chaos in the home.
Absolutely. It brings a more balanced, I would say, environment to the house. It's not that one-sided screaming and yelling and going off your rocker, so to speak. And it brings in more opportunity for conversation, more opportunity for calm, more opportunity to be present in the moment, because you've given yourself what you need. So now you're emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever, available for your child.
That's right. And you touch on it, the presence of being able to be there for them. Not what I'm projecting onto them, and because of I don't have enough, I feel depleted, I don't have enough to give.
You don't want to give because you're too exhausted. But now when you're doing stuff that enlightens you and brings you that peace or joy or fulfillment, I would say, for the word for me is fulfillment, that brings me fulfillment. I'm actually wanting now to be part of. It's not that I never wanted to. It's just now I am so much more emotionally, physically available because I go for my walks, I do my exercise, I do this work. And my kids are at that point now that I've made it very clear that when I'm doing this work, unless it's an emergency, don't disturb me. So that's setting a really good role model too for my children to show that when something's important, don't let anything stop you to get on with it. So I would find the biggest thing is the yelling has gone. And like you said, it's not that it doesn't come back, because it does, because we're human. And some days we're not going to get this right. Some days it can be a complete shit show. And it still is sometimes. But that's okay. But it's just a more balanced. I'd say it's 80-20 calm peace instead of the 20-80 back in the when you're just absolutely exhausted. So what are the things that you like to do? And when you, well, for me, when I exercise and when I don't exercise, I know mentally I'm not as available. I'm just not 100% there. So for me, exercise is really important for me. Not, and let me say that that's exercise is purely for me, but it has that ripple effect onto the rest of my family.
I guess is a good point to raise is this, what are the things that fill your cup? Because I know you and I are probably similar. Is it getting our nails done or getting a facial done probably isn't something that fills our cup, but they're not wrong things, right? It's different for all of us, right? Everyone has a different things that they enjoy, that they love, it makes them feel good.
I'm going to touch on that point, which is a really good
Tell
point.
me. Yeah.
I love to get my feet done. About that. And I think when you said that, it was like, is it really, is it just something that, so for me, that is a treat for myself. So that is like, I'm just going off, I'm going to do self-care and I love to get my feet done because I love my nails nicely polished. It's only every a month or two, but that's sometimes for me, it's just that time out where I can actually chill out. So what my point is, I do really love it, but is that making me having my feet painted? Oh, well, not my feet, but having a nice pedicure. Does that actually fill my cup? You know what I'm saying? Is it really, I love it and I'm not going to stop doing it, but is it really emotionally
Filling your cup?
Yeah, filling my heart?
Yeah. And it's good to question that.
It is really good to question it because I said I'll go off and do it and I love it and I probably won't stop doing it because I love the way my feet look and it's really nice to treat yourself. But I think what you were trying to say, it's beyond the facials and it's beyond those sort of things. It's more, it's really deeply aligned to what's really true for you. Would that be right?
So probably I think those things are fine and they do fill some people's cup in a way, but like saying, you mentioned the word before, fulfillment. And I think that's a good word to use. Does it light you up on the inside?
No, it just lights my toes up.
And that in itself, I think there's a trap that some women fall into that I'd like to point out here, because a lot of women go get their nails done, get their hair done, and that's wonderful. But don't, like you said, don't mistaken that for filling your cup. Yes, do it. Absolutely. If it makes you feel good, do it. But I think there is more to filling your cup than those things. And we can sometimes maybe go into the trap of, oh, I am doing those things and therefore, but maybe having a bit more, being a bit more curious about what else is there. Is there more that I could be doing to fill my cup? Is this really filling my heart?
Yeah. And it's a good time to reflect on what is it that I really want to do? What is that passion or that purpose that I have? Because we all have that. We all come to earth for some reason. We're put here to do something. And it's just like finding what that is. And for me, it's doing this work and it's doing our workshops and stuff, things that we do. It's like, that's what fulfills me. Being a stay-at-home mum or just being mum could truly be what fulfills you. So there's no right or wrong, or there's no judgment here at all. But it's just really days when you just sit there and an idea pops into your head and it's like, it's something that I would like to try. So that's what we are talking about when we're saying doing stuff that you love.
Yeah.
It's
following those breadcrumbs.
Yeah, it's purposeful. That's the difference, because you can still get your nails done and your hair done and still be cranky and angry and everything like that. You feel good in the moment, and there's nothing wrong with that, because making yourself feel good is a good thing. But it's just searching for that deeper meaning of what really does.
And I'd like to introduce the idea of play here, because for me, that's been a big thing of playing. And experimenting, trying out new things. And when I mean playing, I don't know sometimes what I'd like to do, but I'm going to give it a go and just explore and try and keep exploring and be curious about what I want to do. So I think that's because a lot of people, and I remember myself being in a point of, I wouldn't even know what I love. I wouldn't even know, right? Being in that time of, how would I even know what I love? I've never even thought about that. Because if you're that person back there who's constantly trying to serve everyone else around you, then you're not thinking about, what do I want with my life, or what are the things I'd like to try? You're not thinking about that.
Yeah, exactly.
And so bringing that in as that sense of curiosity and play, and just, I'm going to try this, and hey, I'll love it or I won't. Just following the breadcrumbs and being curious is what really helped me in finding the things that I enjoy.
Because when you come from that point of, I speak to so many women about this, just overwhelm, and they've just fully devoted their life to their kids and the household and other things, into jobs that don't fulfill them. And they go, I actually don't know what I like. I don't know what makes me happy. I don't know anymore. I just feel so lost. I don't know. So bringing that play in, and just, it allows for ideas to come in, and it allows you being curious, allows for things to evolve, and you can start finding things that you enjoy again. And once you start that enjoyment and the play and curiosity, things will just slowly float in, and you've got more space to allow it to come in. Because when you're overwhelmed, angry, depleted, that's all you're going to keep. It's the hamster wheel. That's all. You're just going to be on that hamster wheel the whole time. So I love the idea of play. So what are some of the things that you do or have tried, just out of curiosity?
Art has been a big thing for me. So I've always liked crafty things and just exploring art, but in a way of being playful and just trying different things, trying different mediums, just giving it a go without setting any perfection or any expectation, and just giving it a go. So that's been a big one for me. I've tried dancing, sport things. So it's just dipping my toe and trying different things and seeing what lights me up, what doesn't.
Well, for me, it was bringing the fun and adventure back into my life. Bringing that person that I was so many years ago, before I raised my family, still raising my family. It's just bringing that adventure and doing things I probably would never do half the stuff I did back in my 20s. When we went to a theme park, my girls begged me to go on a roller coaster. I just couldn't. Once upon a time, I couldn't do it. I went on a couple of rides to shut them up. I thought I was going to die. So maybe not that fun and adventure anymore. Past that, they can do it, and I'm happily to watch them. But it's more for me, the fun and adventure that I like. It's like going for a kayak up the river, or just going for a beach swim. And that's the thing. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. We don't have to go out and rule the world in a month. It's just taking little steps to allowing for that fun and play and joy to come back into your life. And then it just sparks that, oh, I remember, I like that. I'd like to try to do this. Yeah, let's give that a go.
Oh,
Any last thoughts, any last ideas or parting words you'd like to put on our audience that are feeling like so exhausted and so run down and so overwhelmed? Well, this is how I feel. You've got 3 kids under 5. I'm working, I'm running around for sport. How do I find time for me? How do I bring that little bit of spark and joy back into my life without the guilt?
my advice would be a couple of minutes a day. Just start really small. Just set aside 5 minutes where no one disturbs you, where you've got a space, and you just lock yourself somewhere and start with that. A few minutes a day of, whether it is just, for me, like I said, drawing, meditation, even just some time outside just to stare at the clouds, just a few minutes of day where it's just for you, and build on that.
Absolutely. Funnily enough, when you said lock yourself in a room, I was going to say the toilet, but do you remember you couldn't even go to the toilet? Oh gosh. And you make a good point. Just start simple. Don't overwhelm it, because you're already feeling in a place of overwhelm. You don't want to add to it. So it's just 5 minutes. if you can grab that 5 minutes of just doing something that is just going to put you into a place of connecting back into what you love,
Yeah.
It's just stepping stones in you. And as you find you enjoy it, 5 minutes could lead to 10, that can lead to 15. And you'll start putting yourself first. You'll start to realize by connecting to that fun, that joy, the purpose, the fulfillment that you want, you will make more time. You will be, I'm going to say a better parent, a nicer parent, speaking from my terms, and you'll bring more peace and harmony into your house.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think the sense that you are allowed to do that, it is allowed, and even just noticing, taking time just to notice, where am I not doing that? Where am I giving so much and it's depleting me?
Yeah.
And do I need to do that? Just having some awareness around where all your energy is going. And
that's a great point. And coming from a cleaning fanatic to the rest of the motherhood out there that's a cleaning fanatic, I know you were one, Sonia. It could be even just a matter of leaving the mopping for that day. Just acknowledging, I'm exhausted, I can't mop this floor. And it
does not matter. The floors will be there tomorrow.
Give yourself a breather. Be kind to yourself. Well, thank you. Great chat. And I hope that somebody out there listening is really getting benefit out of these talks, because it's our passion to show parents there's another way to parent.
Thanks so much, Julie. Thanks everyone for joining us. See you all next time.
Okay, bye.